Today is August 14th, 2018. We welcome you to the Town of South Kingstown Town Council regular session. If everyone could please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Want the roll call? Council President Healy?
Here.
Council Vice President Collins?
Here.
Councilman DeCruz?
Here.
Councilwoman Gledhill?
Here.
Councilman Veely?
Here.
All members present.
Thank you. Before we go into each agenda item, I'd like to say that we will be adding to the agenda tonight, and under item 14N, which is new business, an agreement that we would like to enter into between the University of Rhode Island and Briar Lane, the operation and maintenance agreement for that road.
Right, so if you could have a motion to that effect and actually vote to add that to the agenda for discussion purposes only. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item number 4, we entertain a motion to approve items A, the work session of July 23rd, the regular session of July 23rd, and the closed executive session of July 23rd.
Motion to approve items 4A, B, and C.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Under licenses, which is 6A, is going to be a resolution granting a Sunday sales license to PBL Inc., Liberty Wine and Spirits on High Street. The application would be by Joseph Paglia of Thayer Avenue in Narragansett. Before we entertain a motion for this approval, I'd like to move to item number 7A, which is a public hearing. Item number 7A reads, a public hearing relative to an application for transfer of a license to keep and sell alcoholic beverages in South Kingstown in accordance with general laws of 1956. This is a Class A retail liquor license and the transfer of a Class A retail liquor license from Patsy's Package Store by Gary Denuncy, president of 524 High Street, Inc., to Rhode Island's PBL Inc., Liberty Wine and Spirits by Joseph Paglia, president of 524 High Street in Wakefield, for the sales area and is further defined in the site plan dated July 16th. Said transfer will be contingent upon the issuance of a certificate of good standing from the Rhode Island Division of Taxation, filing a certificate of insurance evidencing required liability coverage, compliance with all town ordinances and regulations, the payment of any municipal taxes and user fees in arrears to the town, the correction of any fire code violations, and the satisfaction of all claims. And before we enter into the hearing, we do have some correspondence.
We did have 2 objections filed by Horizon Beverage and Rhode Island Distributing by their attorney, Gregory Mancini, and both of those were released today.
Okay. So because this is a public hearing at this time, anybody who would like to come up to speak on behalf of this transfer, we invite you to come up to talk, please.
Yes, Thomas Torswell, representing the applicant, Joseph Paglia, as a member of PBL Inc. Mr. Paglia and his brother are stockholders in the corporation, each holding 50% interest in it. They are both residents of the state of Rhode Island living in Narragansett. Mr. Paglia has operated Arturo Joe's restaurant in Narragansett since, I believe, 1996, about 22 years. This is an existing liquor store. It's probably the oldest one's been in the family. And speaking to Gary Denunzi, he was indicated to me it was in the family since 1934, operating as a liquor store. It's quite a long history and being in the same building since its inception. As this is a existing use, I don't think there's too much to be concerned about as far as the effect of on property values in the area. It's already been there, it's been existing. From my knowledge from being a resident here in South Kingston for years, I have no recollection of any real problems growing out of the operation of the facility there. I don't have any reason that's going to substantially change. As Mr. Paglia has been operating, he's gone through all the training previously. I think his reputation for the restaurant he's been operating there for 22 years should be a good indication of his character. I don't know how much more you want me to go into it. If you have questions for him, but certainly.
Any drastic changes to the outside of the building?
The building is going to be leased from Mr. Denunzi. I don't foresee any real substantial change to the outside. Maybe some cosmetics, cleanup, maintenance. Would be principally very much in character. You really don't see a whole lot of it from the front. It has long walls going down the sides. Anything else you'd like to add, Joe?
I have a quick question. Joe, will you be leasing out the entire building or just a liquor store?
Just a liquor store.
And you're changing the name from Patsy's to the Liberty Wine and Spirits?
It's going to probably remain Patsy's just until we get going. It has a great reputation in town, and
It'll probably be called that forever, no matter what
it's
you
yeah, and that'd be good actually. It's I've been very tight-lipped for a long time, and just hearing some, a couple people that I've told and recently, whether it's at the bank, and they're like, "Oh my God, I have such great memories of going to Patsy's," and no, it has a lot of character, and I'd like to keep it that way. I'd like to thank Gary for trusting me with that license, and I hope I do as well as he did.
Thank you. Would anybody else from the public like to come up and speak on this matter, as it is a public hearing?
I make a motion we close the public hearing?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now it's time to move back to item 6. No?
First, motion to approve item 7A as presented, contingent upon the issuance of a certificate of good standing from the Rhode Island Division of Taxation, filing of a certificate of insurance evidencing required liability coverage, compliance with all town ordinances and regulations, payment of any municipal taxes and user fees in arrears to the town, the correction of any fire code violations, and the satisfaction of all claims.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to item 6A at this time is a resolution granting a Sunday sales license to PBL Inc., again, Liberty Wine and Spirits, 524 High Street, application by Joseph Paglia, President of Thayer Street in Narragansett. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve 6A.
All those in favor?
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to item 6B is a resolution granting a victualling license to Anchor Pete's LLC, DBA Anchor Pete's, 515 Kingstown Road, application by Panagiotis Tracoulis, member of LaFazia Drive in Johnston. Do we have any discussion on this? Anybody here who would like to speak to this license.
Is the applicant here? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, come on up.
Just please come to the podium and state your name.
Panayotis Trikoulis from 1 Lafazi Drive, Johnson, Rhode Island.
What will your hours of operation be?
I'm looking to do 7 to 9, a breakfast, lunch, dinner, more family-style restaurant.
I know I saw your menu. It was impressive. I said breakfast as well.
Yeah, so I'm trying to do breakfast, lunch, try to keep it, local, family-oriented restaurant, inexpensive food.
Will it be
Good
7
drinks.
days a week?
7 days a week, I think, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
Do you own any other current restaurants?
I have one in North Providence, but I'm remodeling that one, and I'm going to do less hours because it's a lot of hours
I get it.
in 2 places, so I might cut the hours on both, just maybe do breakfast, lunch, and then dinner on the weekends, I don't know. So,
Good. Any other questions?
I make a motion, we approve item 6B.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Best of luck.
thank you.
Moving on to item 6C. This is a resolution granting a victulating license to Sweet Althea's, 542 Kingstown Road in Wakefield. The application is presented by Kim Curtis of Stedman Court in Wakefield. Is somebody here to speak on it?
Kim Curtis.
Hi, Kim.
Hi.
Are you changing anything, or are you...
No, we just moved to a bigger spot.
Okay. Any...
Motion to approve item 6C.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Good luck in your new place.
Thank you.
Item 6D is another resolution granting a victulating license to Bombay, DBA Bombay Flame Restaurant, 60 Old Tower Hill Road in Wakefield. Application by Farhan Hussain, manager of Gordon Street in Pittsfield, Mass.
Good evening. My name is Donald Packer. I'm an attorney representing the applicants, and I have 2 of the principals with me this evening. Gentlemen, want to come up? I have Manyo and Mutai. If you have any questions relative to them with regard to the operation of the business, we're moving into the Chens, and it's always going to probably be Chens. Hopefully not. It'll be Bombay. But they're going to do an Indian-style restaurant. You've got the menu. If you have any questions, they can answer those.
Do you have any other restaurants? Okay. Great.
When do you think you guys will be open?
September.
I'm sorry? September 1st week. Okay.
The liquor license will be September 10th. You just moved that on the consent agenda, but we're going to try to open for food earlier.
Looks like you guys have done some work on the building. It looks good.
Any other questions?
Motion to approve 6D.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to E. E is a resolution granting a miscellaneous permit to conduct the Harbor Church 5K Road Race September 22nd at 8:30 at the Harbor Church on Waits Corner Road, subject to the execution of a hold harmless agreement indemnifying the town, issuance of a certificate of insurance naming the town as an additional insured for this event in the amounts specified by the finance director and approved by the Traffic and Transportation Review Committee. Proceeds for this event will benefit the Johnny Cake Center and the Welcome House. This application was presented by Pastor Pete Mlinick of Waits Corner Road, and this is a renewal. Is anybody here to speak?
I'm Rob DeVerna, and I'm on the committee at the church helping to organize the race. This is going to be the 9th annual race. We're expecting it to be similar to last year. We had about 120 participants last year. We think it might be slightly larger this year, maybe about 150 or so. But it's going off very smoothly, and we expect a good turnout.
Good.
How does one register to participate? Is it online?
There's flyers all over town, and there's a link to a website. You can register either in person on the day of the race, or you can register online.
Do you have a motion?
Motion to approve item 6E.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item F is a resolution granting a miscellaneous permit to conduct a portion of the Firm Man Half-Iron Triathlon in South Kingstown on September 9th to Firm Fisk Independent Race Management. This is subject to the execution of a hold harmless agreement indemnifying the town, issuance of a certificate of insurance, naming the town, indemnifying the town, issuance of a certificate of insurance naming the town as an additional insured for the event in the amount specified by the town, approval by the Rhode Island Department of Transportation and subject to any conditions set by the town's Transportation, Traffic, and Review Committee. Proceeds for the event will benefit Narragansett Parks and Recreation Department. Wendy Fisk, Truhanovich from Webster, Mass. This is a renewal.
Hi, I'm Fred Bartlett. I'm the local coordinator for this race. We've been doing it 23 years. It does benefit the town of Narragansett for the children in Parks and Recreation. Firm is the second largest producer of triathlons in the Northeast, and we use small portions of South Kingstown, Charleston, Westerly, obviously Narragansett. There are 4 races. There's a swim only, swim and a bike for those people that can't run, and a sprint triathlon, and a full half-iron triathlon. People can go to firm-racing.com to register or to get information. I have 127 volunteers, so we've been doing this a long time, and we're coming up on about $200,000 over the years for the benefit of Narragansett, but it also benefits all of South County or Washington County. Parts of the skateboard park were built for it over at Cristofaro, as well as projects that are not funded by the taxpayers in Narragansett. It's a great event, and we've been lucky to have it every year, and thanks to you and all the other councils and the police departments. It's an ongoing event. We're probably going to have 300 to 500 people. In its heyday, it had 800 to 1,000 people.
Motion to approve 7F.
6F,
sorry.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good luck
Thank you.
with your event. Moving on to 6G. This again is a resolution granting a miscellaneous permit to conduct the Run Against Cancer on Saturday, September 29th, 2018, with a rain date of September 30th at 9 a.m. from National Grace Foundation located in East Greenwich. Subject to the execution of a hold harmless agreement indemnifying the town, issuance of a certificate of insurance naming the town as an additional insured for the event in the amounts specified by the town, and approval by the town's Transportation, Traffic, and Review Committee. Proceeds of this event will benefit the foundation and Hasbro Children's Hospital. Anthony Gallonio is the executive director. This is a new application.
Yes, good evening. Anthony Gallonio from the National Grace Foundation. The foundation helps children with cancer go to college. We started in 2011 after our daughter was diagnosed with cancer, and it was a way to give back and say thank you to all those who helped us. She's 8, happy, healthy now, but the foundation over the years has grown. We award scholarships, and the run is intended to help raise money for scholarships and also give back to Hasbro, who took care of our daughter when she was dealing with cancer. This is going to be, I don't anticipate this run being a large crowd because of the resources that we have. We're all volunteers. We want to keep it small to have a good experience, so I don't anticipate more than 50 people being involved in the 5K, and we're keeping it small for that reason so we can manage it.
What is the race route?
So the bike ride is, That is in our 6th year of raising funds, again, for scholarships, for college programs, and for Hasbro. And that ride goes through portions of South Kingstown and then through Richmond, Hopkinton, and Charlestown, and Westerly.
How about there's a running race, the 5K?
Yes. So the 5K, this will be the first year that we hold the 5K. And it was, the reason we're holding it is we've had a lot of interest in supporting the foundation. We've just never had that. People aren't, the ones that are interested aren't necessarily cyclists. And we already have a small route for a 5K that we can just go right around the Matunic area, right around Theater by the Sea. So it's all set up, and again, it's intended to be a small event.
Motion to approve 6G.
You might consider both G and H, one's the bike ride and one's the road race.
Right. G and H. Thank you, Mike.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
Again, another resolution granting an F1 19-hour beverage license to Wakefield Village Association in Peacedale, P.O. Box 98, Peacedale, for the Endless Summer 2 event to be held on August 16th from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. in the parking lot of 323 Main Street, and the application is by Ken Tetzner, President.
Hi, I'm Ken Tetzner, President of the WVA. Basically it's our second year. This is one of our big fundraisers for the Wakefield Village Association. Actually, I'm going to borrow one of Joe's shirts for the luau. But it's a Hawaiian-themed luau on Main Street. We have live music, games. We have a guest appearance, which I can't tell you about, but it is the anniversary of Elvis, and we're not sure if he actually died, so you might want to show up. We have a pig roast. All our events are free, so in an effort to try to raise money, we ask for an in-kind donation of $5 at the door. You can either pay it or not pay it, but like I said, we try to go with the idea that our events are free, but we appreciate the donation. I don't know if you have any questions.
What are you going to have for beer?
We're going to have Whalers Local Brewery. That'll be our main beer, and then Miller Lite and Leinenkugel. That's like the summer shandy, but mostly Rise, Whalers Rise. They help us out a lot. They're one of our big sponsors.
Ken, if you want the shirt, you have to rent it.
Okay, I get it. But I hope you guys all come. It's a great time. I think most of you probably went last year. We have 5 bands. We have Moana, the Princess Show Up. The kids love that. That always turns out great. Just a great fun community event.
It's this Thursday, right? Or
this Thursday, 5 o'clock. Yep. I'm taking you up on the shirt, Joe.
Motion to approve.
How much?
Motion to approve 6I.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Looking forward to Thursday. Thanks.
Thanks.
Moving on to item 7, which is another public hearing. This is item B. It's a public hearing relative to an application for transfer of a license to keep and sell alcoholic beverages in South Kingstown in accordance with the general laws of 1956. This is a Class B victular liquor license. It's a transfer of a Class B victular liquor license from Rody Joe's LLC by Glenn Cello to Anchor Pete's, DBA Anchor Pete's by Anagiotis Tarakolis of Kingstown Road, 515 Kingstown Road, for the dining room, bar area, sunroom, and as further defined in the site plan dated July 18th, which is on file here at the town clerk's office. This transfer is contingent upon the issuance of a certificate of good standing from the state of Rhode Island, filing a certificate of insurance evidencing required liability, compliance with the all town ordinances and regulations, the payment of any municipal taxes and user fees in arrears to the town, the correction of any fire codes, and the satisfaction of all claims. you have anything to add?
No, not that I know.
What are you doing with the sunroom? Are you going to keep games back there, or?
I think I just wanted to do it more like, my plan was to do like after school, like Friday night football, like I'm going to try to talk to the high schools if they want to bring their team and do like a special discount for, people that participate in sports, or rent it out to like little banquets and stuff. I got away from the games, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I didn't like the games, so that's probably.
My kids loved them. Just kidding.
I'll bring them back then. I'll definitely bring them back. Yeah.
No, actually, what happens is if you have younger kids, it was one of those things.
Yeah.
They could get occupied for a little bit.
I might do that. A lot of people. I took them out. Now everyone's telling me you should bring them back. Now I'm having second thoughts. So.
You'll have to try a few things and see what works.
Yeah.
I only asked because I saw the sunroom as part of the
little game room. Yeah. I might sneak them back in there.
You mentioned earlier that you have another restaurant. Does a restaurant also have liquor service?
Yeah, but we don't. It's breakfast and lunch. We do,
Okay.
but no one buys any. It's just the diner.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So.
Would anybody else from the audience like to come up to speak to this public hearing? Any additional questions here at the table?
Motion to close public hearing 7B.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion to approve item 7B is presented, contingent upon the issuance of a certificate of good standing from the Rhode Island Division of Taxation, filing of a certificate of insurance evidencing required liability coverage, compliance with all town ordinances and regulations, the payment of any municipal taxes and user fees in arrears to the town, the correction of any fire code violations, and the satisfaction of all claims.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good luck. Best of luck to you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Moving on, we would like to combine items 7C and D. This is a public hearing relative to an application by CRI by Christopher Sands, managing partner, located here in Wakefield, requesting a proposed text amendment to the zoning ordinance, Article 5, supplementary regulations, marijuana-related uses as follows. This proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance in supplementary regulations, Section 504, special use permits. Marijuana-related uses, marijuana retail facilities and/or marijuana cultivation facilities may be allowed by special use permit in those zones specified in Section 301, subject to the following. The marijuana retail facility or marijuana cultivation facility must not be located within, it wants to be, it's item 2, striking out 2,050 to 1,500 feet away from any other marijuana retail facility or marijuana cultivation facility. And item D on this agenda is also the public hearing. Since they are closely related, we will take them together. This is a public hearing relative to the application by NICE LLC, Mary Banfield of Frank Avenue in West Kingston, requesting a proposed text amendment to the same zoning ordinance under Article 5, Supplementary Regulations 50415, marijuana-related uses as follows. Section 50415, marijuana-related uses, marijuana retail facilities and/or marijuana cultivation facilities may be allowed by special use permit in those zones specified in Section 301, subject to the following. The marijuana retail facility or marijuana cultivation facility must not be located, strike out item 2, 2,000 feet from any other marijuana retail facility or marijuana cultivation facility. Item C, strike out the distances specified in the immediately preceding Section B shall be measured by a straight line from the nearest property line of the premises on which the proposed marijuana-related facility and other designated areas set forth here within. Making the change to read the total combined number of marijuana retail facilities and marijuana cultivation facilities allowed by special use permit in the West Kingston Industrial 1 zoning district may not exceed 7. Would somebody like to come up if they are here to speak on either one or both of these public hearing issues?
We have a communication from the planning board.
I have a communication dated July 25th, 2018, from the planning board recommending the board recommends in this, should I read the whole thing?
It's going to be made part of the record. I think you could just reference as usual that their recommendation is based on findings of fact, findings of consistency with the comp plan, and findings of consistency with zoning. You have it all in your packets. It's rather long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
That summed it up nicely. Is anybody here to speak to one or either both of these public hearing issues? Please come to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Ross Banfield. I'm with NICE LLC. That's awfully close. And I'm here to speak to the second part of that. I think the intent of the ordinance originally was to limit the proliferation of this type of industry. I think that was what was stated by the legal counsel for South Kingston. And I think what happened was the unintended consequences were some confusion in that some people were applying for special use ahead of getting approval from DBR and kind of clouding the issue, and we were hoping to make it simplified. That's what we're trying to do.
Did you have a chance to review the recommendations from the planning board, and do you have an opinion on their recommendations?
I think they've tried to put it in line with local liquor licenses and limiting it to 4. I would be in agreement with that.
Okay. Any other questions? No, yes? Would anybody else?
I do. I have a question.
Okay.
I'm just curious how you arrived at the, I know that the planning board recommended no restrictions on the amount of facilities, but how you arrived at the number 7, if that was based on anything, or was it just a number you picked?
It was just a number we picked.
Okay.
Thank you.
7's lucky, right?
Might be.
Maybe 7 was reasonable, right? So.
As this is a public hearing, would anybody else from the audience like to come up to speak on this topic? If so, please come to the podium and state your name.
Good evening. My name is Mary Banfield. And I'd just like to thank the town staff, the town manager, the planning board, and other staff members who assisted us in reaching this, the point of the public hearing, so that we could consider opening up the zoning district to allow for more cultivators and retailers through the proper process. I don't know if Chelsea would like to speak, because I'm sure she could explain the process quicker and with more information and clarity on how we reached this agreement, and to speak to the recommendation to the town council. I think it was done very well. All things were considered, including all the impacts, the water overlay, the ground protection overlay, the negative impacts. Everything was it was pretty thorough, and it took a long time, and we finally, all of us, agreed on that recommendation that was sent from the solicitor's office to the manager. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Please come to the podium and state your name.
My name is Carrie Steer-Beatrice. I own residential property at 237 Liberty Lane, which is a direct abutter to the Industrial 1 district. It wraps around it.
Carrie, can you pull that microphone a little bit closer?
Sorry, I
No,
feel
that's
like
okay.
it was in my face.
Yeah.
I just have some concerns regarding water. Everyone's on a well out there. And safety, environmental safety, traffic, infrastructure, the roads. You're on little country roads. How is it ever going to be able to sustain the amount of truck traffic in that rural area? And it is a condensed area. I agree. I've looked at it on the zoning maps, and I've been in that. I've traveled those roads since I was a kid, so obviously I'm very familiar with the location. So those are my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Meg, would it be all right if we invited Chelsea up maybe to address some of the stuff we talked about in the work session?
Good evening. Chelsea Seifert, Director of Planning. I guess where to begin. So the Planning Board considered both of the applications together. One, as you know, sought to reduce the restriction from 2,000 feet to 1,500 feet. The other sought to remove the restriction and put a number cap on the facilities themselves. We discussed with the Planning Board really sort of the motive behind the original 2,000-foot separation. I think some of it was due to not really knowing what the consequences of those facilities, clustered together would be. Some of it was based on some state statute language that was relative to schools. So you see there's the 2,000-foot school requirement in there. That came from the statute. But when we discussed it with the Planning Board, they really felt that there were three primary areas of consequence for this use specifically. And if you think about, just to remember that this use is in the Industrial 1 zoning district. So that zoning district is the place in town where the council has previously said, manufacturing, industrial use, those sort of noxious uses that we don't want in our residential zones, we don't want in our commercial zones, can happen in Industrial 1. So they framed that conversation with that understanding that it is Industrial 1, and that those unintended consequences should be compared to the other uses that are allowed in that district. So they looked at really security, and we had a discussion with Norm Birnbaum from the Department of Business Regulation, who basically said that they handle security. They have state-of-the-art systems, and they monitor everybody, so the Planning Board wasn't concerned about that. We talked about wastewater. Most of the two applications that we've seen come through both had proposed to truck their wastewater off-site and dispose it. It's also in the GPOD, the Groundwater Protection Overlay District, the entirety of the Industrial 1 district. And the Planning Board thought that the regulations that are associated with the GPOD were enough to protect this use and the groundwater underneath it. And then the third area of concern really was water usage. And so the Planning Board asked us to do a little bit of research with Kingston Water and to figure out how much water these uses use and whether there's a shortage from Kingston Water's perspective. Henry Meyer said that he was not concerned about water usage and draining the aquifer. And we found that the water usage for that type of use was similar to other industrial uses in the area. So with all of that, the Planning Board recommended to deny Chris Sands' application and partially approve NICE LLC's application, where you approve the portion that would eliminate the 2,000-foot restriction, but not the portion that puts the cap on.
So I just had two questions. The trucking of the wastewater off-site, is that something that's in perpetuity as long as the business is there, or is that like a restriction we can put on so that they don't change their mind, say, in a year?
That is how their development plan was approved by the Planning Board, and so if they do anything alternative to that, they would either be in violation or need to amend their approval.
Okay. And then traffic, I know we talked about it during the work session. So what sort of traffic does the cultivation center track?
Yeah, we've been told, again, from the Department of Business Regulation, that most of the truck traffic is a UPS-sized truck, there's 6 or 7 employees, and it all depends really on the size of the facility, but it would not necessarily generate more traffic than a typical industrial use. If anything, a little bit less. You're not going to see the big 18-wheeler trucks going to these marijuana cultivation facilities. They're going to be more of a box truck size.
And do you know offhand about how many people each of these facilities is thinking of employing?
I don't, although I seem to recall that the first one we approved said 2 or 3 employees.
Okay.
I don't know about the second one.
So it's not like a large volume?
Not a large volume, no. The other thing just to mention is that these are required to go through development plan review if they're on a single property, even if they're in an existing building. The second one we had, which was proposed for Liberty Lane, was in an existing building, and they still had to go through development plan review with the planning board. So during that process, the planning board has the ability to look at things like stormwater, wastewater, truck traffic, and condition or revise the site plan as necessary. So all those typical things that we look for in terms of impacts with site design will be considered as part of that process too.
So Chelsea, you mentioned a UPS-sized truck. Is it going to be FedEx, UPS delivering this stuff?
I don't know. Maybe Chris or Mary want to address that question.
No, it will not be UPS or FedEx.
Okay. Thank you. So I have to make sure.
Never know what's in that truck.
Be kind of easy. To identify
What Mary's saying is that the packages themselves and the trucks won't have any sort of marking on them, so you know what's inside, so there's not a security issue there.
And there was one more question. I have faith that they are going to truck their wastewater off-site, but how do we make sure?
Yeah, I guess the answer to that would be that DBR is also looking at what they're doing inside the building. So we don't necessarily have a clear, we don't oversee what's happening inside that building, but DBR does. They have video monitors. They have, every plant is tagged with their system. So they would be the ones who would know how the wastewater is being handled. If for some reason DBR brought to our attention that it wasn't being handled correctly, we would treat it as a typical violation of the zoning ordinance or a violation of your approval. But outside of that, I don't know how we would be alerted to the fact that they were not doing as they were told.
You're saying that the current applicants have that in their agreement?
They both do, yes.
Now, future applicants, that's something that the planning board will decide at that point?
Yeah, so they will propose whichever, they propose to treat their wastewater however they see best. So these two propose to truck it off-site. They could propose to dispose of it through an OWTS system, an on-site wastewater treatment system, or into public sewer system if there's one available. But all of that has to be reviewed and approved by the John Jacques, the Director of Public Services, before it goes to the Planning Board. Okay. So whichever method they select and want to propose, he has to review all the details of the system and how it's designed, and then it goes to the Planning Board for approval after that.
Or denial, right?
Or denial, correct, yeah. But if John doesn't approve it, it won't go to the planning board. That's sort of the trigger, the threshold.
I don't know much about marijuana cultivation, but I know this is indoors in an industrial building. Would their application that they used allow for any growing outside, or is it only inside?
Inside only, and that's a DBR regulation.
Okay. Is there any new legislation that's coming up this year that might change the application or this process?
Not that we are aware of.
Okay. Seems pretty fluid. Everything changes all the time.
Yeah, I mean, there were some proposals to change it as part of the governor's budget last year, and nothing happened, nothing went through. So I think it's in flux, unfortunately.
But Chelsea, you may not know the answer to this, but there are businesses all around there, right? So any idea on how many parcels or units could potentially go into that area?
I don't know. And the honest answer to that is that really the industrial parcels, so even if I gave you a count of the parcels in the industrial 1 district, they can have more than one building.
Right,
They
or
can
unit.
have more than one condo, right?
Right.
So I don't know the answer to that.
Would anybody else like to come to speak to this matter? Please state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Chris Sands from CRI. Initially, we made the proposal for 1,500 square feet, not realizing that there were other people interested, and my request would have zoned them out. So I appreciate your consideration in bringing this together. I also appreciate the concerns of the local neighbors, and our proposed location has pre-approvals by the property owner for more than one structure to be put on the property for a future business with intention of the property owner to lease. So our particular company would have approximately 6 employees. We'd be operating a proposal of between 8 to 4 o'clock Monday through Friday. We use automated systems where we want to reduce our cost of goods sold. So when you monitor this, you don't want waste. There's going to be a very minimal amount of waste, far less than other businesses in the area. But going back to the pre-approvals for other businesses, the traffic flow that we would bring to that neighborhood, I think, would be far less than another business that would occupy the same size building. We'd be applying with a Class B license through the Department of Business Regulation. That allows us to have up to a 10,000 square feet, but that's tabulated with egress, and that breaks down to 4,000 square feet of canopy space, which is not that much, and it's a relatively small plant with a small plot size. So the big picture is, I don't think, and I do respect the concerns, but overall the traffic that we would bring with our proposed business would be probably far less than another business that would utilize these structures. I just wanted to bring that point out because one way or another it does appear that there will be a business coming into Liberty Lane. And I guess we would be the lesser of two evils in my opinion. I'm available for any other questions or concerns that you might have. I think a lot has been addressed already. Yeah,
Chris, can you speak a little bit to DBR's security sort of provisions that they're requiring of your business? And also, just in general, if you're familiar with how this has been going around the country, where, you know, medicinal has been around for quite a while in a lot of districts, has there been much of a security issue around industrial facilities like that?
To my knowledge, I've worked as a consultant throughout Massachusetts on multiple teams obtaining licenses, and actually the security systems are so intense that they've helped solve other crimes not pertaining to their businesses, but the police departments, along with the Department of Business Regulation, will have access to all of our cameras, both internal and external. And essentially, it's more secure than a bank. You have to have appropriate lighting that's low profile so that it's not going to have peripheral annoyances to neighbors, but allow the security that the DBR would like to see. All entry points have to have appropriate lighting as well as key-coded entries. Our proposed facility, along with any other the restrictions, you're not allowed to have any windows where the public could see internal operations. You're required to have a vault. It cannot be sited on a peripheral wall. So any response times would mitigate any type of theft. The vault would be where all the medicine that's packaged would be stored. The rest, which the cultivation rooms, would be raw bud on a plant, and I don't really see that that's feasible for any type of crime incentive. And now again, I'm a medical professional. I've worked for 16 years as a physician assistant with a master's degree in health, and I'm a local resident here in South Kingston. The last thing I want to do is bring anything negative to the town.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the audience like to come up to speak?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, it's Mary Banfield again from NICE, and I just wanted to help answer Councilman DeCruz's question about the number that might be coming into the zone of the facilities. The DBR has put a cap. They're not accepting any more applications and for cultivator licenses, and there are, to my knowledge, only I think about 7 that have submitted applications, and of those 7 that have submitted the applications, DBR has only approved 1. So there, at this point, I don't think there'll be any more additions to the buildings of the units that will be cultivating.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to clarify that even though DBR is not currently giving any applications, they can in the future change their rules at any time and start issuing applications again. So just because there's only 7 now does not mean that there would be 7 into perpetuity.
Hi, I also wanted to mention I was a little confused on the wording of the proposals. I apologize if I missed something, but our focus is definitely on cultivation. However, it appears to me that within the industrial zone, if this wording is approved, retail possibilities may be zoned out because there will be I think words that you would have to have 2,000 feet between retail businesses or retail to cultivation business, and I was just thinking that might be worthwhile to consider if you would like that opportunity down the road to come up with alternative language so that we keep the door open. Maybe say that it's amenable to development plan review and special use permit, which still leaves a lot of power within the town. But I would like to see something where we don't rule out that possibility of having retail down the road. Thank you.
I think tonight this, with what we're looking at with the public hearings, is just approving the cultivation centers. It's not necessarily prohibiting the retail, but that would have to be considered separately. Is that correct, Mike? Or Rob?
So you could. It was both public hearings were advertised, and as they were written, especially Chris's application was relative to both cultivation and retail, reducing it to 1,500 feet. The NICE LLC application removed the 2,000 and limited it to 7 cultivation facilities in West Kingston. Mm-hmm. The planning board really in their work sessions only discussed cultivation facilities. So that's why you have a sort of draft resolution that addresses only cultivation facilities. The planning board did not discuss unintended consequences of an amalgamation of retail facilities in either West Kingston or in the commercial highway. And that's why you see that that is still intact. They did not discuss it.
But they could at a later date.
They could certainly at a later date.
Okay.
If someone applies.
Right. So this isn't restricting anything. It's just not
correct.
Counting.
And in the West Kingston, with the 2,000-foot requirement, we were able to get 2 applications for marijuana cultivation facilities. I would imagine that would have the same 2 or 3 retail as it stands. And then you also have the entire commercial highway district, which could support additional retail.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, or conversations relative to this public hearing? Okay, do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we close public hearing C and D.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any oppositions? Okay, motion carries.
Nope.
Do we have a motion?
Is it sufficient just to say motion to? No, you want to read this thing, right?
To be clear, if you could read the proposed motion, assuming that's one you're happy with.
This,
The South Kingstown Council denied.
yes, the South Kingstown Planning Board has considered the application. Motion. The South Kingstown Planning Board has considered the
Actually, I'm sorry, it's the one the South Kingstown Council hereby denies.
The South Kingstown Town Council hereby denies the application for a zoning ordinance text amendment filed by Christopher Sands seeking amendment to the required distance between marijuana facilities from 2,000 to 1,500 feet, and hereby approves the application for a zoning ordinance text amendment filed by NICE LLC seeking deletion of the required distance between marijuana facilities and proposing a limitation on the total number of retail and cultivation facilities in the West Kingston Industrial 1 District to no more than 7. The modifications to the amendment proposed by NICE LLC are as follows. 1, denying the proposed amendments to Section 504.15C, which would limit the total combined number of marijuana retail facilities and marijuana cultivation facilities allowed in the Industrial 1 District to no more than 7. And 2, retaining the separation requirement for marijuana retail facilities. In making this motion, the Council hereby adopts the Planning Board's findings of fact relating to consistency with the Comprehensive Community Plan and to consistency with the purposes of zoning as stated in the Planning Board's correspondence dated July 25th, 2018.
Second with a comment. I just wanted to say, some of the concerns that were brought forward about the overlay district for water and the concerns about traffic and security. I think that the Planning Board did a really great job in addressing them, very thorough, especially with the Kingston Water District and getting that information. And with what we know already about cultivation centers and their security procedures. So I appreciate the due diligence there, and I know this is something staff's been working on for months and months, and I just appreciate the patience of the applicants and also the work of the planning department in getting all this information to us. So while I recognize the concerns, I think that we've done a pretty good job of addressing them, and I'm comfortable approving this.
I have a comment. I trust that the planning board had pretty lengthy and detailed public hearings. Chelsea's laughing at me. Planning staff, I'm sure, was immersed in this, as was, other staff in the manager's office. So I trust that this is sort of the way the process works well. It's done at that level and then brought to us with a tremendous amount of information, and I appreciate their work.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any oppositions, recusals? Seeing none, motion carries. Moving on to item number 9 on the agenda. This is the time for comments from interested citizens. We welcome you to come up to the podium and state your name and let us know any comments, questions, or concerns with things that you'd like to address. Please come forward. Okay, seeing no comments at this time, we will move on to the town manager's report.
All right, we'll try to do this one quickly. I'm going to focus on a couple of good news items and some of the issues that we're wrestling with, although one of them is technology, else. The sort of big good news items, things that I'd like to draw the council's attention to. First of all, I think that South Kingstown this week was the beneficiary of a good bit of good press, particularly around the Meadowbrook response, South Kingstown School District donating facilities, and South Kingstown staff working hard to see if we could be part of the solution after quite a significant tragedy for a local institution. The other item that I think some folks may have heard as a bad news story, but I really saw it as an example of a really good government response. You may have heard on the radio over and over and over, and you may have seen the TV coverage. We had a big bunch of seaweed land on South Kingstown beaches over the last week. And it was a Herculean effort last Thursday and Friday for staff to get out there with pitchforks at 5 o'clock in the morning to take seaweed off the beach. They were out there with shovels, they were out there with pitchforks and rakes, and just loading a bucket loader and pickup trucks and dump trucks to get the seaweed off the beach. Really an extraordinary effort. Staff also this week were able to remove some of the weeds downtown on the bridges and before the festival to make sure that South Kingstown, Wakefield looked as good as it can look. And I have to tell you, despite the fact that the press seemed to sort of focus on the smell and the sort of inconvenience of having seaweed on the beach, it was just extraordinary to see recreation staff working to tackle that problem. They did a great job. I was just exceedingly proud of them. A couple of issues. We've had some red still in the staffing areas. This is really just a matter of sort of catching up. We are starting to see some improvements. I'm expecting to see EMS actually has turned yellow. We've gone from red to yellow there. We've had a higher in EMS. So we're beginning to see some of that staffing stuff being taken care of. On budgeting, there is, and we're going to go into an executive session later tonight, we had budgeted for a 2% across the board increase in wages for staff. We've now negotiated 3 contracts. All of those came in at numbers closer to what we're seeing elsewhere in the state. They're above 2%. So we're showing red in our budget this year and in this column because we're coming in with rates that are not extraordinarily high, but they're above the 2% that we expected. They're coming in at 2.5 in that neighborhood. So we're there, but all in all, not a bad week, and staffing and budget are well in hand, even though they continue to be issues that we're concerned about and I lose some sleep over.
Rob, can you speak to 2 items on this? Just out of curiosity, the food trucks under building and zoning for legal, and then the Matunic Surf. Is that the seawall down there, or what?
No, so a couple of things. The first, on the Matunic Surf, what is it? Matunic Surf Shop. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Matunic Surf Shop is an operation that started up. It's 2 buildings on a single lot. They need to go through a planning process that they haven't gone through. They've received a notice of violation and are in the process. So it's yellow. It's something we have to be concerned about, but it's not out of control. It's not a red. On the food trucks, this is going to be a conversation that we're going to have over and over and over again for a while, I'm afraid. The state of Rhode Island, a couple of weeks, well, it would have been longer than that, in the last session, the state of Rhode Island has changed the definition of a peddler. So in South Kingstown, it's been the rule that food trucks cannot park on the road because peddlers have to keep moving. That rule ends given the state's new definition of peddler. They wrote out of the definition of peddler mobile food services, food trucks. So mobile food services are no longer subject to that regulation. That new rule takes effect at state locations, facilities, roads controlled by the state in January, and for municipal facilities and locations in July of next year. So we are looking at trying to figure out how to devise a new regulatory regime that will facilitate this new and very popular business model and at the same time protect the interests of our restaurants and facilities that we have around town. It's going to be a completely different scheme than we've seen in the past. We're going to have to do something very different, and we're just now beginning to wrestle with it. We are out in front of it. I mean, it's months away for us, a year away from us almost. So we've got time to get this right, but we really do want to think through what it is we want to do to, again, facilitate a business model that is producing very popular alternative, and at the same time, make sure that we're not doing injury to our established businesses. There's all sorts of questions around this, and this is why I mean, things like, where is the tax paid on a food truck? Do they only pay tax where the truck is garaged? There are all sorts of questions that we're just beginning to wrestle with.
Anything else? Okay. Moving on to item number 12, town solicitors.
So I'll have a report for you in executive session.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any appointments tonight? Okay, seeing none, let's move on to agenda item 14. 14C is a resolution rescinding an award of bid originally granted on November 13th of 2017 to Martone Service Company for replacement of the architectural flat rubber roof at the South Kingstown Senior Center. This has been further described in a memorandum from the Director of Senior Services to the Town Manager dated July 25th of this year. Bid recommendations, replacement of the Senior Center roof.
So this is essentially a situation where a solicitation went out, bids came in, bidder came in with the low bid. It was accepted, came out and inspected the site, determined that there were conditions that he had not anticipated when he submitted his bid, and said, look, we've got to change this up. The alternative bid or the alternative work is not acceptable, and we want to rescind and move on to a new contract.
Make a motion to approve items 14C and D as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to E, this is a resolution authorizing an award of contract to Horsley Witten Group, located in Providence, for consulting services to prepare strategic recommendations relative to a multi-household development and inclusionary zoning in the amount not to exceed $99,970. This was described in a memorandum from the Director of Planning to the Town Manager dated August 2nd of this year. Again, the entitlement of recommendation on award contract consulting services relative to multi-household development and inclusionary zoning.
How many bids did we have for item E?
Two. The second bidder was a firm from Ohio. Interviews were conducted here by a panel of 4? 5. And during the course of that conversation, both firms were asked, a million questions about the approach that they would take to help us devise a new regulatory structure for affordable housing, to support affordable housing. It was the unanimous opinion of the board that the Horsley Whitney proposal was just the better of the two, significantly the better of the two.
Seeing how we have $30 to spare for what we budgeted for that, do we have a contingency set aside so that if there's any overages, it's all right?
We have got a way that we could deal with additional work if necessary, although I hate to broadcast that because being local is wonderful. They understand South Kingstown, but they also pay attention to things like what we budget.
Right. I was impressed they got it that close.
Yep.
When can we expect to see this, the results of this study? What's the timeline for it?
Really, it's a year and some. It's going to take us some time to get through this.
Okay. Any other questions? We have a motion.
I did notice that on the scoring matrix that we were given in the memo that we added up the total points there, and the Horsley Witten group scored a 96 out of a possible 100 compared to 67 out of 100 for community planning insights. Significant difference.
They were very different, and both qualified. I mean, I have to say that both firms, clearly demonstrated the ability to do the work. Horsley Whitney simply understood the community and the objective more clearly.
I make a motion that we approve item 14E as presented.
I'll second, just with a comment that, Chelsea, your memorandums leave little to ask
I appreciate it.
Thorough. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to item I, a resolution authorizing the extension of an award of bid originally granted July 25th of 2016 to Safety Marketing in Connecticut for municipal road striping marking services for the fiscal year 2018 and 19 at the unit price bid, subject to the funding availability and as further detailed in a memorandum from the Public Services Director to the Town Manager dated August 1st of this year. Bid recommendations for Regional Road Striping Program.
Motion to approve item 14I as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. J is a resolution authorizing the award of contract to Voltrek in Andover, Mass. For the installation of 2 electric vehicle charging stations at the Town Hall and 2 electric vehicle charging stations at the Comfort Station in an amount not to exceed $59,661. This is described in a memorandum for the Director of Planning to the Town Manager on August 7th, award of contract installation of electric vehicle charging stations.
I just had a quick question on this. The charging stations that are going to be at the Comfort Station, I'm assuming they're in the municipal lot next to it. Will that restrict to parking spots? Will it take them offline, or can anybody park there?
It's actually 4 parking spaces. Each station has 2 plugs. So you get 2 stations, 4 spaces. We have discussed adding some additional parallel parking to the, what would that be, northern side of the parking lot, and changing the vehicular pattern to a one-way circulation around the lot so that we can accommodate those extra spaces.
Okay.
So you might lose 1, maybe 2 full, vehicle parking spaces, but you're not losing parking spaces. They just electric vehicle only.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking about how...
Yeah, we think, and Rich is here, and he's actually looked at this a little bit closer, we think we might be able to get 3, probably not 4, but maybe 3 or 2 on that parallel, which is a added bonus, I guess.
Okay.
So your total number of parking spaces actually goes up.
And those spots are restricted to...
They're restricted for electric vehicle use, yes.
Yeah. Right.
So Chelsea, if I had an electric vehicle, could I just pull up, or do I have to swipe my credit card, or?
So the ones at the Comfort Station are charge point stations, so you would swipe your credit card and pay for your electricity. You don't have to pre-register. You can pull up, and if it's available, plug in. The contract also includes 3 years of the charge point service, so we wouldn't have to start paying for that ourselves until 3 years from now, and that gives us time to figure out if we want to pay for it or if we just want to go to, a free energy situation. So we have a little bit of time to consider that.
Chelsea, since you're considering changing the traffic pattern in that parking lot, are you considering any other changes for, like...
We have not discussed other changes to that parking lot.
All right. I'm just thinking about the Saugatucket River study, and I know that they had some sort of grand visions for that area, and if there's any low-hanging fruit that we could incorporate into that.
Separately, we are still working on that.
Okay. Great.
Motion to approve item 14J as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. K is a resolution authorizing the town manager to enter into negotiations and execute a lease agreement with the Meadowbrook Waldorf School if the terms of the said agreement are mutually agreeable to both parties for the available portion of the South Road School building located at 1157 South Road for a term of not less than 1 year, with the option to extend the term for up to 1 additional year. And this is further described in a memorandum from the Finance Director to the Town Manager on August 8th, 2018, Meadowbrook Waldorf School lease.
Meg, I know that some of the people from Meadowbrook are here. That just like to invite them up if they had anything that they wanted to say.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Farrelly, and I'm the administrator of Meadowbrook Waldorf School. And on behalf of our entire community, I just wanted to take this opportunity to express our gratitude for the incredible support that's been extended to us by the various town departments. and the Village Co-op Nursery School. As sad as this loss has been for us, we're humbled by the support we're receiving, and we thank you for trying to make this happen quickly for us.
Thank you.
Motion to approve item 14.
Someone else was standing up.
14.
Like to stand up and say something? Or?
Yeah, I'm Mikhail Segal. I've been a member of South Kingstown now since 2002 and have happily raised our children here for the last 12 years, but also as a member of the Meadowbrook Waldorf School community. My children attend there, and as a Board of Trustee member, I can't say how happy I am to be a part of both communities, but really want to thank the town and the community here for supporting us and working with us to allow us to work with you on the South Road School, and all the town council and the manager and everybody behind the scenes and all the community members who have been so supportive. Really want to thank you, and I myself I can't say how happy I am to be a member of this community in welcoming in the Meadowbrook community here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to approve item 14K as presented.
Second, with a comment. I know that there's been an awful lot of hard work done by town staff on this, and I just wanted to extend gratitude for the quick action and the hard work from all the people involved.
And I also wanted to say that I know the school department came forward with a donation of, I think it was some desks and chairs, and they were very quick to offer what they could. And I just, like Joe said, it's been great to see the staff mobilize so quickly. I'm pretty sure the fire department was still there, and we had staff that were on it. So I just think it's wonderful, and also want to thank the UFD who responded with the other departments to the scene. All of the mutual aid that came in was phenomenal. So thank you to everybody who made this happen.
And to add to that, it's always terrible when a community has to experience tragedy of any kind. But it does my heart good to see the level of support and outpouring and graciousness of many communities who believe in the support that you give to our children and families. We have a motion? Do we have a second?
We do.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations and good luck. Moving on to, this is a new item on the agenda, which actually is item...
We still need L. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. L is a resolution authorizing an award of bid to Horowitz Uniforms in West Haven, Connecticut for the purchase of Blower uniform shirts for the police officers per the unit pricings as submitted by bid on August 9th, with unit pricing to be held through June 30th, 2019. And this has been described in a memorandum from our police chief to the town manager on August 9th. Blower uniform shirts.
Motion to approve item 14L.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to an added item, which is item O. And this is relative to an agreement between the town of South Kingstown and the University of Rhode Island relative to Briar Lane, its operation and maintenance agreement.
There we go. I want to thank you for adding this item to the agenda tonight, because I think that this is an opportunity for the town and the university to work some magic here, really. The university has completed, or is about to complete, the construction of a new visitor center at the corner of, and I'm going to get this wrong, Upper College Road and Briar Lane. I got it, actually.
It'll be in your neighborhood now, too. So.
It's true, actually. It's just on the street. That new center's got a parking lot that has an entry from Briar Lane, and unfortunately the condition of the surface of Briar Lane is not all that it could be. It is in our capital improvement plan, but it's not scheduled for rebuilding and repaving until I want to say 2022. And that unfortunately is, that means that would-be students coming to URI are going to be bouncing and damaging front ends for a number of years before we can get to repairing it. The university approached the town a few weeks ago and said, we'd really like to pave the road. Unfortunately, the rules are such that we can't pave a road that we don't own and control. So would the town consider transferring title to the road, to the university, so that we can pave it and we will maintain the road? And this is a significant offer by the university, and I'm going to ask Rich to come up and sort of describe the condition and the improvements that need to be made to the road in the long haul, because this road is going to need to be not just paved but rebuilt at some point in the future. Rich?
My name is Rich Bourbonnais. I'm the town engineer. So we met with URI, and we talked to them about some of their concerns. And I had actually talked with Ken Burke from URI about the same issue. And what they want to do right now is they want to go in as soon as possible and reclaim the road, which would be take it all up, leave much of the material in place, and then repave it right on top. I believe that they're going to leave the sidewalks, the curbing, and all of that there. It's actually the sidewalks and the curbing are not too bad, but the roadway is really bad. And I think they were anticipating that over the spring, people start coming to visit the college. They do not have, the new visitor center does not have access on Upper College Road, so that they're giving it a new address on Briar, so that when people are directed, they're directed right to that address. They want to just dress it up. So in the immediate sense, they want to repave the road, and in the long term, they may want to trim brush and put new sidewalks in, and they may dress it up even further, but that would be sort of, once they have more control and whatnot at that point.
So when we met with the university, we expressed concern, we don't want to abandon the road. We cannot walk away from our responsibility to the residents who live on the road. We need to devise a strategy here that's going to get the university what they need, which is custody and control, ownership of the road, so that they can make the investment within their rules, and at the same time keep the municipality on the hook for making sure that the residents have the quality of service that they've come to expect with regard to snow removal, the maintenance of the utilities in the roadway, and that sort of thing. So the agreement that we are contemplating is what I've described as, and I'll let Mike describe it in much more lawyerly ways, but it really is sort of all but the fee title. We're going to give them ownership and control of the road and retain a perpetual easement that will allow us to maintain the utilities we have to maintain and keep us on the hook for our residents. So if a problem arises, we're in the fight, we're in the game, and we make sure that the residents have somewhere to turn to. Now, the section of the road that we're contemplating is shown up here on the map. It's the red section, which goes down to Cedar Circle. This is really the yellow section is a section that we would not transfer title to. That's really the section of the road that has the majority of the houses on the road, although the property to the south, even on the red section, is private property. That is not all university property. That is privately owned property. Again, that gives rise to the concern that we are always on the hook for our residents. But it's not a section of the road that currently has a number of businesses or residents on it. And the university is proposing to, again, pave that immediately and enter into a long-term reconstruction program. And with that, I'm going to let Mike do.
Well, the very able attorney to my left did a great job in describing it. All I would add is, if you think of Upper College Road, which is obviously open to the public, it's not a town road, it's not a town-maintained road. Obviously, the individuals who live off of Briar Lane utilize Upper College Road to then go down Briar. Some may come down Old North Road. The critical thing here is, and the agreement specifies this, the town will maintain an easement in perpetuity to allow pass and repass and maintenance of our utilities. So, in essence, it'll continue to be a public road. It's just that the university has to own that red section in order to put the state taxpayers' money into making the improvements. It's that simple. I would say this, as you know, you added this to your agenda, which means you can't take action this evening, but the university is looking for a response. So we thought what we would do is have you add it, show you what's proposed, answer any questions you may have. Although you can't take a vote, if any of you have issues, now's the time to probably describe them. It's very similar to what we did with Plains Road, very, very similar. The university, we have the easement through it, they're upgrading it, et cetera. So again, I think as Rob said, it's a win-win-win on all sides, because the residents on Briar Lane are obviously going to be beneficiaries of all these improvements.
I have no concerns at this time. I just think that since time is of the essence, we as a council should support the recommendation and move forward as quickly as possible.
Yeah, how urgent, did you say before they, I mean, we could schedule like a special session like next week.
I will talk to them tomorrow. If we have to, we may have to do that. But
okay.
Even if we do a quick morning session at
Right.
8 a.m. or something to approve the agreement. So we'll get back to you via email or whatever.
Perfectly comfortable with it.
Yeah, I have no concerns.
Moving on to item number 15. At this time with the meeting, we will be moving into a closed executive session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5A2 to discuss matters pertaining to a collective bargaining in referencing Council 94, Local 1612, and pertaining to litigation, R.E. Damon Borelli versus the Retirement Board of Employees Retirement System of Rhode Island. Do I have a motion to move into closed executive session?
I will make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
At this time, we'll move into closed executive session. What's that? Sure.
Muy caliente.
Saw that AC is in the flag for town hall.
We could use a new carpet. Some new chairs.
Joe, how are you doing?
I don't need this anymore because I have my agenda.
It was good. You said it was